Hello! Right, this should be working. I assume it is. How are you doing, chat? I don't really know exactly what I'm going to do for this stream. I think I'll probably just I mean, there are some there are some salty people on the video who are leaving comments who are quite angry, and I figure I'd just address some of those comments just to make sure that they understand that I understand what they're saying, and I've preempted it in the video. Because I quite enjoy this sort of thing, because I'm a fucking loser. But how did you find the video, chaps? Is it Potato Mike? Hang on a sec. Sorry. No, it's not Potato Mike. What? How is it muffled? What's wrong with the audio? Is it too loud? What's wrong with the audio? Is that better? Is that better? I've turned it down a bit, so it's fuzzy. Okay, hang on a second. Sorry, can you hear me now? The game? Christ, I don't even know what that is. Right, okay, anyway. Screw it. I guess we'll just have to deal with the terrible mic, apparently. Although I'm concerned, because this is my regular mic. But you know, I'm glad you enjoyed it, apart from Graham Dutton, who thought it was shite. I do appreciate that. Right, okay. Hopefully that's a bit better. Yeah, I will get Arch and V in a little bit. I just want to address these particular things, because I mean, there was a mistake I made. Actually, I said that Hitler was elected when he was appointed. What I meant was that he had the largest party, and I'd confused that with him getting a majority. That's a complete mistake on my part. I retract what I said and replace it with what I just said then. Idiot mistake on my part. Shouldn't have done that. But really small in the grand scheme of things. Doesn't change anything about the argument I was making. And I'm confident in the description of the rest of fascism. Yeah, your mic's broken. You almost sound British. Yeah, it's all uploaded. I mean, it's there now. The video's there now and stuff. Yeah, I sorry for trying the Premiere thing as well. I thought it wouldn't be quite as annoying as it was. I didn't really like it. I mean, I could have just scheduled it for that time anyway, which is what I would have done, because I needed time to prepare the sources and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about about it that I'm not a huge fan of, so I don't think I'll use it in future. But I guess it was a bit of fun for that video, because I've been hyping that video for so long. Another part of you is just like, you know what? I've been hyping, I've been talking about this for ages. So why not be a dick about it? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm such a prick. But no, I'm sure everyone can take it in good humour. And I don't even know how long have I been working on that. How long have I been working on that? It's fucking. I feel like I've been planning that for a year, because I had all these pieces of it in my mind, like how I was going to lay this out. I knew exactly what I was going to do. Anyway, so let me get to the other problems. Well, not problems, so the other criticisms. There was a guy who called it libertarian fascist, and I don't know how to explain how they're oxymorons. Actually, right, that's not entirely unfair, but it's weird to explain, and that's kind of what I said. But yeah, I think is, I mean, I don't think you can call anything libertarian fascist, because ultimately fascism is totalitarian. It wants complete control of the entire society. Libertarianism is the opposite of that. It demands minimal control over society from the state. So there is no such thing as libertarian fascism, at least on that axis. Libertarian extremism. Yeah, that is honestly a way you can put it. You genuinely could call it some kind of extremist. I mean, I call it a libertarian power fantasy, because I really think that's what it is. But so sorry, I'm just reading through these comments. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying it's going to happen or anything, but it's a nice utopia to aim for, isn't it? What I love about it is it's a more realistic utopia. It's like, everything's kind of shit and everyone's going to die, and at the end of the day, if you've got to do your part, but when no one can make you, it's a decision you have to come to on your own. In fact, everyone's going to tell you it's a bad idea, but Jordan Peterson-esque, sometimes you just got to stand up and do something, right? So, I love the fact that everyone calls that fascist. It's like, how could you call that fascist? You fucking idiots. Right. Oh my god, I just realised that Antifa are basically youth gangs from A Clockwork Orange. They're a lot less serious. I mean, don't get me wrong, Antifa are serious, but Antifa, they're middle class kids who've been brainwashed into thinking this is how they can save the world. So, it's not that they're the same as the psychotic delinquents from A Clockwork Orange. And that's specifically what Heinlein was pointing out, actually. That was his prediction. I mean, he specifically wouldn't call Antifa like these gangs because literally the lack of moral instruction that he would believe they would have required to have had. And it's not that Antifa haven't had moral instruction, it's that they've become ideologically programmed. The real surprise is that you watch Deep Space Nine. Man, I love Star Trek. Paul Verhoeven, you disingenuous skid mark. Jesus. I mean, don't get me wrong, he kind of is. You're on. I don't think I think that I couldn't find Verhoeven explicitly explaining his political philosophy, but it seemed very leftist to me. Very leftist. Like any kind of standards seem to be like a negative. But you're on record saying you didn't even read the book before you shoved your face between your ass cheeks and started inhaling your own farts about being fascistic. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I was like, man, I was just reading through all the stuff and I just can't see how you can call this fascism. And at the end of it, I think it was just because Heinlein writes like Adolf Hitler. He just doesn't write the same stuff. It's like absolute moral certainty with perfect clarity. And it's like, okay, I mean, these are pretty convincing arguments. And when someone gives me a convincing argument that strong and like that immediate, I sit there and think, okay, man, well, I'm going to doubt it anyway, just on the strength of it. But so I'll get to the super chats now. I just want to go through some of these. So there was one that I wanted to get. FYI, Mad Max Fury Road is a social commentary on how women destroy nations. To be honest with you, so was The Last Jedi. I mean, what happened at the end of it? The whole fucking rebellion was defeated. Like, what? You just lost. What kind of war? I don't understand. Why would you? Why are we celebrating a bunch of rebels who failed? Who destroyed the fucking Jedi and the Force and allowed the space Nazis to spring out of nowhere? I mean, what the hell? Oh, right. Fascism was not less focused on ethnic hatred. Didn't give a shit about ethnicity at all until Mussolini needed to be on Hitler's good side until everyone started hating him. Then even ethnic purges were relatively sparse. Half-assed attempts at keeping Nazi leadership satisfied, much like in Hungary and Romania. That's not an entirely bad point, actually. He's right. That fascism as a doctrine doesn't care about ethnicity at all. It's very much like the EU in that way. I'm not kidding, right? The EU really has echoes of fascism to it. But yeah, no, he didn't give a shit about ethnicity, but Nazism excessively did. And I think that there was a lot of bleed over of ideas, in many ways probably because fascism didn't have a fully formed theory on race. Like I imagine they kind of started picking things up. And in much the same way, I've seen quite a few like race realist, actual socialists, Stalinists and that sort of thing. They don't care, but they believe it, and so it's that kind of thing. I think that is the case. I mean, I watched like Oswald Mosley defending his statements against Jews in the 30s in interviews in the 60s when he's a really old man, and it's really interesting how he would try and deny that he was an anti-Semite because it wasn't all Jews, it was just like a group of Jews. And so, okay, well, I mean, that I don't know. I didn't look at the rhetoric of the 30s. I just assumed it was against Jews because the host was like, oh, fuck's sake. Oops, I forgot to do something. But I will do this thing. But yeah, so, you know, they were definitely anti-Semites. In many ways. And, I mean, I'm sure there were some that weren't. But the race politics, I think, permeated the entire era, to be honest. I think that many people... Sorry about this. I think that many people like just want to read the doctrine alone, and you've got to remember the kind of cultures they were stewing in. But I mean, he's right. He clarifies afterwards. Well, I just want to clarify the ideology itself didn't call or condone racism or anti-Semitism. Yeah, that's true. You know, it was aracial. Couldn't agree more about Star Trek. Cisco's dad owned a restaurant called a Creole restaurant. Yeah, I think I put a screenshot of it in the film. Well, I mean, in the video. I mean, it's fucking film length. I tell you what, that took ages, absolutely ages. You've ruined one of my favourite shit films. Yeah, sorry. So the film is actually pretty good, all things considered. Probably because Heinlein, Verhoeven didn't read the book. The guy who wrote it obviously had to read it, and I don't think he was quite as ideological as Verhoeven. I mean, it's a funny. At one point, Verhoeven's like, "We were fighting with the book," and I'm just like, "Well, how could you have been fighting with the book? You were fighting with the writer who was trying to interpret the book that you were trying to make fascist, that turned out not to be fascist." Yeah, the Make America Great Benito Mussolini clip. Yeah. You find some interesting things when you do research. It's funny as hell. I couldn't leave that out. It's just kind of a dog whistle to the SJWs, if nothing else. I think they'll go nuts. You know, if they realise, they'll be like, "Oh my god, he's condoning fascism." It's like, dumbass, I sat there BTFOing fascism. Like, anyway. Yeah, sexual gratification shows clip of Jeremy Corbyn's boob grab. Yeah, I know, right? I couldn't think of something that was not going to get the video flagged to put in there, but then I don't know, that must have crossed my path at some point, and I was just like, perfect. I haven't watched the animated CGI series, I'm afraid. Is any good? I mean, you know. Having Arch read those excerpts was a nice touch. Yeah, Arch has got... Honestly, as soon as I started making this video, it was Arch's voice I could hear when I was, you know, like writing down writing the script. I could just hear it in Arch's voice. And you know that in his, like, haughty, high, arrogant voice. And it sounds great. I absolutely adore it. The rolling R's as well. It's awesome. Awesome advert for the infantry. It's why I joined. Yeah, you can... Man, I tell you what, I'm really with Heinlein on that. There's sort of, like... you know, abiding respect for the infantrymen out of all the soldiers. You know, they're the ones with the worst job. And, you know, you got to give it to them. Too bad not a single Western liberal democracy today represents the interests of their citizens or feels itself accountable to its citizenry. I want the sci-fi future of Starship Troopers. Yes, please. Yeah, I tell you what, man. That's why I put, like, you know, why do you want this unironically? Because this is actually like Jordan Peterson's utopia with Steve Bannon's economic policy. it's yeah, like it's in its own interests, you know. Possibly not Steve Bannon's economic policy, as you know, I've said that, but I'll take that back. Sorry, but yeah, it's a nice utopian vision, isn't it? I finally have an ally in the pronunciation of Heinlein. Oh, dude, that just means we're both pronouncing it wrong. Like, I'm so sorry, dude. We're both pronouncing that wrong. But yeah, isn't it interesting how, like, I mean, Heinlein, he is just spouting the same stuff as Peterson. Duty, you know, duty, respect, honour, you know, service. Like, it's all the same stuff. Talking about responsibilities, you know, that Peterson's saying. And, you know, Peterson, why is Jordan Peterson, you know, resonating with young men, talking about responsibilities? Well, why did Starship Troopers resonate with all those guys, you know, the sort of like 30-something guys back when they were teenagers? It was talking about responsibility. You know, that's obviously something that appeals to a certain kind of young man. And I'm the same, you know, I was included, and then we discover video games, and, you know, then you don't worry about it. But, yeah, it's not fascism. There was another one that I can't find. Right, I'll just go through the super chats now. Sorry. And then I'll get Arch and V on. If I can click the right button. Oh, thanks, Rob. Really appreciate that, man. Fascism is almost always a corporatist economic model. Opinion of Suharto in Indonesia. He was a Pancilium nationalist. Yeah, I know of the ideology, but I don't really know much about it. Free market, liberal, national, authoritarian state of national culture above all. Yeah, I like I said, I'm aware of it, but I've never looked into it. I appreciate you touching on for us the living board about the moon's arch mistress. Dude, Heinlein wrote a lot. You know, and this took long enough. I wanted to stay on topic. Definitely end this with your work, mate. Oh, thanks, Binary Surfer. And I really appreciate it, man. Because I saw someone told me the other day that Thunderfoot started randomly tweeting about me, and so I looked at his timeline. And he's like going on, and he's like, and his views are declining. I'm like, dude, I haven't made a video in 2 weeks. Like, I've been doing this. What do you expect? But anyway, you know, that, like, I don't know what was wrong with Thunderfoot, but yeah, it was a huge amount of work to do this, and even then, man, I had done months of work just like planning the script out and stuff. And it's the thing is, right, I don't normally like work as hard as this. Like, I obviously, you know, this was a phenomenal workload, and I'd written out in draft a bunch of times, and I'd gone through it and edited it, and, you know, moved things around, and, you know, made it how I thought it was best. And before I did any sort of recording or anything like that, I actually completed stages like a proper project, like a fucking grown-up for once in my life. I don't know why. I hate it myself. Carl, you've literally saved my life. Raised by a feminist. Oh, I'm sorry. I resisted their image of men. I internalized their image to the point of suicide that they can never accept our good intentions. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's fucking rough. You know, like... Just imagine being raised by someone who just fundamentally kind of hates you just because of the way you were born. That's awful. The Ultramarines, Ultra Smurfs could represent the right during the US elections, apart from the Ultramarines or the Crusaders. But the Ultra Smurfs, why would you want them? To be fair, the Blood Angels can do. You know, it's not like the left are trying to sell anything but chaos at this point. I mean, what the hell do they think the end result of their policies is going to be? Honestly, just I'm sick of the terms free this, free that. Off. Just stop saying free. Just stop it. It's getting to the point where I'm just openly bothered by it. It's like there's just nothing free. You know, it's annoying. I wish you were a bear, mate. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Verhoeven is one of my favourite directors. Robocop's great. Yeah, dude. He's one of mine too. That was one of the things that pissed me off about, like, I actually edited out quite a bit of me just like, not like, you know, just being like, Verhoeven's a fucking idiot, you know, because I was kind of pissed off. Like, nah, I don't need to be pissed off. He's just wrong. But, you know, I'm kind of annoyed that he didn't bother reading the book, and he obviously came with an agenda that he wanted to project. And it bothered me because I really enjoyed the film and the book, and for different reasons and parts. But not because I am somehow sympathetic to fascism. I'm sympathetic to personal valour and effort. You know, what I would consider meritocracy. So, you know, there's just no fascism in it. It's, you know, you're not being compelled, you morons. You know, having things that are voluntary are not fascist in general. Like, there's just the rule of thumb. If you get a choice, like, I love the guy in the... Like, you're going on holiday. No, I'm joining the service. Oh, fucking fascism right there. Do you go on an exotic holiday with your rich family, or do you choose to do service for the human race? You know, oh, fucking total fascism. It's just... These people just don't think. But yeah, I agree that he mishandled Starship Troopers and accidentally made a good movie. And Robocop, what else did he do? There was another one that he did. It was a fucking blockbuster. I can't remember the name of it now. Was it Total Recall? Absolute fucking amazing. I'm sure he was Total Recall. But yeah, again, another film I fucking love. So yeah, I'm annoyed because Verhoeven is actually one of my favourite directors, apparently. I just happen to like a lot of his films. Good vid. I prefer the focus on the book over the movie. Yeah, well, only the book was canon. I was only using the movie in parts where it was like congruent with what was in the book. You know, where it was representing something accurately enough to say, yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, I mean, this is why I did the Humans Did Nothing Wrong segment, which I have to say was easily my favourite part of the whole fucking thing. Because since the very beginning, the very first time I watched Starship Troopers, like, I was always just baffled as to why the bugs were even attacking the humans. You know, it's like, okay, even if it was humans landed on our settlement and we killed 300 of them or whatever, because they had a settlement on our planet. Okay, you kill 300 humans. You know, okay, and the humans are, okay, well, that's terrible, but it's a giant bug race and we're just going to leave it alone and just, you know, we'll make even more propaganda saying, really, do not go into the exclusion zone. These people have died. It's terrible. It's a natural disaster area. Just don't go near it. But instead, chucking asteroids at Earth. Right, we're going to start wiping out tens of millions of humans. It's like, dude, that is nuts. And they're still doing it, apparently, you know, according to the propaganda reel. But yeah, it's like, it's totally disproportionate. How about William Wallace shout of freedom now that you're finally done? It does kind of feel like that, I'm not going to lie. Great work. Totally understand the points you're making with the jump cuts to Antifa and Spencer being punched, but to any normies that might be brought in could be turned off by the partisanship. I don't think you need to be partisan to be against Richard Spencer being punched, to be honest. I mean, I'm not in favour of Richard Spencer. Like, I don't agree with his political opinions, and he knows that, I know that. And I imagine now at this point probably millions of people actually know that. And so it's, you know, even if they don't like our channels or follow us or anything like that, you know, if they've heard of the pair of us, they're probably aware that something has happened. So I think that it's fine. I don't think it's. I mean, even if they know who Richard Spencer is, but even then, I think most people are not on the punch Nazis bandwagon. You know, randomly violate the rule of law. Thank you. What are your thoughts on the limits on liberties that Starship Troopers characters have and the collective good in the government? Who decides what's good? Well, yeah, that's why I said that the laws are moderately more authoritarian than we're used to. I mean, to be fair, in the book, I don't believe they had restrictions on families like they did in the film. If they did, I missed it. I didn't obviously make a note of it. But let's assume it's there. I mean, yeah, that would be considered more authoritarian. But the laws themselves come from society's mores, and that's how democracy works. The society is supporting the state, and everything flows from the bottom up. This is another reason why hate speech laws are so goddamn annoying, because they're coming from the top down. They're coming from academia. They're coming from the elitists, who then go to the government and say, "Oh, by the way, hate speech is a bad thing. It's happening all over the place. You need to criminalize it." Well, that's actually not what the people who are just like exchanging hate speech were actually asking for. And I think it inhibits the kind of social evolution that should happen when two different kinds of societies come into contact. And, you know, often this is rude and offensive. And, you know, that's part and parcel of being a human being. But anyway. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's more authoritarian than we're used to. I mean, I'm not suggesting that we should have like government-issued licenses for breeding, but that's because I'm quite more liberal than I guess the people in Starship Troopers universe are. But you know, that would just be for us to decide. Who decides what's good? We do. We campaign for it. This is, you know, the public morality sets the laws, not the other way around. That's how it should be in a democracy, anyway. So I'll refresh my page. Good to meet your gammon self in London. It'd be great to see you address the roundest, native, or naive, autistic ideas in detail. The Bergen-carrying red shirt. I find objectivism interesting, but I'm not saying I even fully understand it or anything. But it's not really worth the time. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why the mic's so bad. I don't know what's going on. It should be fine. But, but yeah, it's just there are more important things going on, you know. So, sorry, take a shot every time I say, you know. Yeah, it's kind of habit. I am the guy in the blue coat from your latest public talk. Oh, hi man, how's it going? Force Louis to read highlines to the 5th column. I shall do that. In fact, I will copy and paste that to him now. Your wish is my command. I didn't know the director tried and utterly failed to push an agenda with the movie. I just thought he did a typical book to movie cash grab. Yeah, I didn't know that either. Well, no, that's not true. I think that, you know, when everyone talks about Starship Troopers, they go, well, he was trying to make it fascist, wasn't he? And everyone's like, oh, yeah, good point. How does that make me look, you know? So I started to help people out on that, because I've always thought that too. That's why I did all this fucking work. Is it woke to consider multi-personal bodies, such as the government, to be composed of individuals instead of a monolithic entity? Well, they definitely are composed of individuals, but the thing is, they're all working in a hierarchy. So the people who command the hierarchy set the agenda, and the individuals working under them are essentially obliged within law to carry out these orders. And they probably will, because otherwise they'll probably get fired. So, I mean, it is individuals following a set agenda, cooperating for a single goal, or probably multiple goals, but you know what I mean? Like, with a specific will. So, they are individuals and they are monolithic. It's not a dichotomy. Way back in primary school, I had a full set of trooper armor from the movies. Oh, wow. I won a first prize out of about 200 others. You fascist. This chat's been claimed by the Emperor of Mankind. Kick V. Yeah, I did. Duty to the state, the individual, the Constitution. That's the thing with Dashing Rogue. It's not collectivist at all. Because ultimately, what you're protecting is a constitution that is for every human. So, I mean, I don't know how less collectivist you can get. I guess that we're being collectivist against the bugs there. But for every human, it's essentially the US Constitution is what you've got for the entire world, which honestly I would be very happy with that. I can't think of a better idea, frankly. Like, I really can't. I can't even imagine if we're going to do anything, like, why not have something like that? Thanks, Robbie. Right, I will grab V and Art. Sure, anyone who's around.
Because she's got
hello.
Oh, there we. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hang on, I've got to change this volume level, I think.
What? Are you live still?
Yes, we are currently live.
Oh. Okay. Are you just popping the? You do realize you're in the ecclesia and 1,000 people are about to join, right?
Okay, well I'll join the Pnix. So if V or anyone is around, then feel free to join. And I moved without telling them I was going. God, I'm terrible at discourse. I don't mind if you call me a boomer. I'm not saying my parents would do a better job either, but I think they'd probably do a better job. Could you say... How's it going, Scrub? You alright?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Sorry, there was a pre-existing conversation going on there. That was nearly really awkward.
Yeah, my apologies. I jumped in the wrong one.
Oh dear, that could have been, yeah. Anyway, I have been watching the stream, so I am up to date with what you're up to. But oh my, the amount of people joining here.
Did you enjoy the video? Was it okay? I mean, fucking hell.
Yes, I actually really enjoyed it.
That's the thing, isn't it? You know, when you put up something like that's that much work, man, I was shitting myself. I was like, what if it sucks?
No, it was obviously put a lot of work into it, and I don't want to. I don't usually praise you on stream. I usually give you a hard
you do.
time and call you a boomer asshole. But
yes.
that was genuinely extremely good, and
thank you.
Honestly, when I got to the end of it, I was like, I want to watch that again.
Thank you.
And I'm very, very rarely like that with video.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the things I wanted to mention was that I actually quite like. He misinterprets it, but as far as it goes, I quite like the tongue-in-cheekness of the Verhoeven movie.
Oh, I love it. I think it's great. Like, I love the fact that it's like, they're always like, oh, it looks like Beverly Hills, like the TV shows from in the 90s.
That's the way it's supposed to look, though.
Yeah.
Like the prototypical teenager. He's like a teenage heartthrob, but he's like killing fucking insects, and it's gory and it's great. I love the juxtaposition of that.
Yeah.
I love that they're all like 90210, but they're going into fucking space and killing bugs and shit.
Yeah, but if
Perfect.
it is. But the thing is that is kind of what the future will end up looking like if things go the way they're going. Like people are getting like, you know, healthier, they're living longer, you know, they're taking exercise. You know, the unhealthy people are generally poor. You know, the middle class, you know, they jog, like, you know. So it's weird, you know. The wealthy people tend to take more care of themselves. It seems probably because they've got more time and flexibility to do it.
I think honestly, my favorite part of the video is when you brought up the fact that they were live broadcasting like a beach landing.
Yeah.
It's like, you're right. You know, this society is actually relatively utopian in terms of media openness.
Imagine it. Just imagine that fucking kind of media openness. Like,
it's being framed in a jingoistic way, I agree, because they're at war, but they're also showing them primary sources. Like, they're showing them you're right, they're showing them the consequences of this war. There's, like, dead bodies on TV.
It's incredible. Like, here we go, 8 million people have just died. Oh my fucking lord, you know, that's panic stations. That's crazy.
Like, you know what? It reminds me of, like, if 8 million people died and, like, the bug sent an asteroid, like, the whole Earth would be in fucking, like, bug stomping mode.
Dude, everyone would be freaking out. You know, like, holy shit.
Like, I think they're being relatively restrained. You just think they'd glass the entire sector they were in.
Yeah, just, okay, well, we're just going to send every missile we have at the bug planet. Done.
Yeah.
You
Instead, now they're trying to like get a brain bug and maybe trying to communicate with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
The only misstep I thought in the Verhoeven movie was having Neil Patrick Harris basically dressed like a Nazi.
Oh, that was obvious.
It kind of tips its hand there. And you start to feel, oh, come the fuck on, guys.
Yeah.
You know, like,
but the thing is, like, I didn't mind it because of the campiness of it, to be honest.
It did, but it really.
It was on the nose.
It was, and the movie hadn't been. It hadn't. That was them almost winking at the audience at that point, really obviously. And I thought that wasn't necessary. Because a lot of people at the time didn't understand the tone of the movie, and they call it like a fascist tone and all that. But it's like with Fight Club as well. No, people didn't understand the tone of that. And I think that Verhoeven in later years has kind of tried his best to play up that side of it because he got misunderstood at the time.
You know, I've never actually read the book of Fight Club.
It's not as good.
Really?
No, I don't. It's full of like too much Tyler Durden worship, and I prefer the line the movie like walks. The book's a bit disjointed as well.
Right. Okay.
It's an interesting premise. But,
yeah.
Like the ending of the book's different. In the end of the book, he ends up like committed to an insane asylum. It's a lot more downbeat. So. The buildings don't blow up for no reason, and the Pixies don't start playing. So.
So what's interesting is I think there are a lot of people. No, actually, that's not true. I haven't seen a lot of these comments, but I think there are a lot of people who fundamentally think that there should be objective standards for everything, and are constantly looking for an objective standard for everything. And I think that one of the sad realities of life is that for some things there just aren't objective standards. No. One of the things is this comment here: self-defense has an objective standard. It's like, no, self-defense is a standard that we decide. You know, I mean, even now in Britain, you can't just murder a man who tries to mug you. You know, it has to be proportional response.
Well,
and
self-defense has an objective standard is a ridiculous statement because self-defense is argued so back and forth in courtrooms.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It has a very subjective standard.
But words are violence now. That's how subjective this has become. It's like now someone saying something can be considered violence. I mean, that can't possibly be considered objective. So, yeah, I appreciate the desire to have objective standards in these sort of things, but I just don't think they exist. Just being real about it, you know.
I don't know. I don't know if you. What is your favorite moment in Starship Troopers? I don't know if you brought it up on the video.
Almost.
I don't think you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't want to talk about me really about it. I wanted to talk about the actual, what I thought was in it. Honestly, I think the history of moral philosophy lectures that's easily my favourite bit, because Radcheck is just on the money, and it's what he's saying is irrefutable. As soon as you hear it, you think, well, yeah, that's obviously true, you know. And then you think, well, shit, you know, that it like it's interesting having these kind of things brought to your attention, because normally they're not, and in fact, for moral reasons, they're not. You know, and this is why like people are like, oh my god, Heinlein's promoting violence. It's like, no, describing the world as it is not promoting violence. It's just there is violence in the world, and you have to be aware of that.
I like it that Verhoeven also thought this is a chilling fascist speech, and really he's just describing how the world is. It's like, no, the all ultimate power comes from violence.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you're going to impose your will on someone else, if you're going to impose your ideas on someone else, you're going to have to be willing to resort to violence at some point.
Yeah.
That's like the point of like where warfare comes from.
Yes.
And it's kind of, it really flies in the face of utopians who believe in like a war without, you know, a world without war and a world beyond war. It's like, no, war is always going to happen, and war is always going to be necessary.
Yeah, while humans exist as like, you know, coalesce into political groups, there's going to be war, you know, in some form. You know, it could be terrorism or whatever, but you know.
I love it's what the people who make fun of that are also the people who like punch Nazis.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. Yeah.
How dare you say ultimate power comes from violence? But we should use violence against these people to stop them from being in power.
Yeah, good job proving me wrong.
They're talking about an existential war against an advanced enemy who can hurl meteors at you. They're talking about punching their political opponents who disagree with them. There's a bit of a moral gap there.
Sorry, Jack, I haven't been paying attention. Why did Starship Troopers fail at the box office? I've no idea. If any, I mean, I was talking about the politics of it. So, like the film, I mean, I know it did. You know, obviously I found that out during the research for the film I was doing. But I don't know enough about the box office in the 90s to be able to tell you why it failed at the box office.
Honestly, it was probably the same as with a lot of films. It's probably a marketing issue. And then it wasn't marketed correctly. That's the reason most films like that fail. Yeah,
I mean, I imagine if they marketed them like basically to the Jordan Peterson slice of the fan base, sort of, you know, young men who need responsibility, I'm sure it would have been quite popular. I mean, it obviously was popular with those people.
I think, from what I've heard, the marketing, it came across as an actual B-movie. From what people thought, so it's like, oh, this is going to be a schlocky, terrible sci-fi. We'll not go see it.
Oh, that's really sad, because the computer graphics in it still look great. Like,
they actually, I'm surprised how well those held up, because I actually watched Starship Troopers relatively recently.
Yeah.
Pretty much in preparation for seeing the video, because honestly, you've been teasing this for like a year.
I know, and the thing is, I knew it would be worth it though, because I knew exactly, I just knew what I was going to do with it, you know.
Honestly, dude, I'm actually, that's one of the best videos you've ever made. I will say.
Thank you. I would say.
Looking forward to seeing it again.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I don't want to say like you're sucking my dick or something, because I do genuinely appreciate that. I've actually, for anyone who's curious, I've included the reading list on there. I'll probably add things to this as and when I remember that something that I was drawing on was like a set of ideas that I was drawing on were in the video, because. Like, you know, like a lot of the time you're summarizing a lot of information that and you're characterizing it.
One of my other great moments in that was when you were talking about Neil Patrick Harris. He is stood there in like an SS uniform, but also what he's saying is irrefutable within the logic of within the logic of the universe. With all the information you've been given and all the information you can glean, and like. You're right, everything that's said in the film is like the government never actually lies to people.
No, as far as we can tell, there's no I mean, like, there's no deceit as far as we can tell. And like, we don't even see any corruption. Like, the whole thing, like, no one's giving backhanded, underhanded things under the table. Everyone's playing everything straight and by the rules.
You can really sympathize with them as well, with like the Mormons who go and settle there for no reason. Yeah. It really reminds me of Israel fucking everything up, like all their settlements and shit. Jesus. Like, guys, just fucking stop, okay?
I just want to make it clear, I am not making that comparison.
You know what I mean? It's like a bunch of
I'm joking. I don't know enough about Israel and Palestine to get into the argument, man, because it's so detailed on each side. Everyone is
Well, it is, but what I mean is in like a group of people going out and doing something, not necessarily the blessing of a government.
Well, yes, but like I said, I don't want to get into that because it's just going to attract people who are really committed to one side or another, and I'm not committed to either side.
Okay, my solution to the Israel-Palestine debate is to nuke both sides. Like, there's no winners in that. Just glass the area, start again. It's too convoluted.
Again, I don't endorse that. Just so people know, because there are going to be people who think that's my position, or lie to other people and say that's my position. So I have to say that.
Hashtag glass the Middle East.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell, I'm not being completely serious. Do I really have to explain to people? Are there really people here who don't understand what hyperbole is?
There will be. There certainly will be.
Oh, okay. Yes, some of you guys are all right. Don't go to the Middle East
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah, tell them what you did, Scrump. Tell them what you did.
I gave some very hardworking art students a day off. It was a gift.
Go on, tell them.
An accidental gift. People already know what I did. Okay, it's basically what I'm famous for now. I made a joke, and it was not my fault. The authorities didn't take it that seriously, but the school did. If you want to figure out what I did, just Google Cal Arts closed, and you'll probably come across it at some point.
And you've made the papers before with your shitposting, have you not?
Well, I did
fairly regularly.
I did make a 9/11 meme that got reposted by some sort of White House correspondent. It ended up in like Newsweek. It might have been in I think it was in the Daily Mail.
Oh God!
There was that time I discovered that Twitter was like ghost deleting posts that ended up in The Sun, The Independent.
Oh yeah.
I end up with the newspapers somehow a lot, and I don't understand why. My shit posting does seem to make the news.
Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is though, and I know I've mentioned this before, but your meme in that thread when we were doing the Trump CNN memes was the spicier meme. The American History X one. Dude,
that was an amazing one. I can't believe nobody gave a shit about that. I was like, and the thing is, it came to me as a flash of inspiration. I was like, right, this is gonna rustle some fucking jimmies. You know?
Actually had Trump as a white supremacist, curb stomping CNN as a black guy, and no one gave you shit about it.
I know.
I'm amazed about that.
I know. I was just like, wow, I can't believe that flew under the radar.
Because I was sat there, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ,
yeah.
Oh, that's spicy.
Yeah, you've got to go for the nuclear option in 9/11 now. You've got no choice.
So you backed me into a corner there. Fucking hell.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's like, it's a funny old world, isn't it? You know.
Anyway, we should probably get back to
yeah, sorry, yeah. So this is Scrump. He's
I'm an international meme terrorist.
Unironically, apparently.
Yes, unironically, I am an international meme terrorist.
Yeah, sorry, I'll take the...
Stop me before I meme again.
Jared Holt is watching. Look forward to the article asserting that Sargon wants to glass the Middle East and France. Well, I've just reinvigorated Nazism on my main channel, so I think he's probably busy furiously typing that up as we talk. But yeah, I'm sure that he'll get around to updating that with an addendum. Sargon also wants to glass the Middle East.
Oh, and before I forget, happy birthday belatedly to Dankler as well, because I did.
Oh yeah. Yes. Happy birthday, Dank.
He got Boogie on there. As
Boomer,
well.
Did he? Oh, that's cool.
I thought it was a fake Boogie, but no, actual real Boogie on there.
Oh, that's really cool, man.
But yeah, anyway, Starship Troopers.
Yeah, so PewDiePie BTFO'd. Yeah, that's probably something I should address. No, well, kind of, but PewDiePie did say that nobody understands this movie. It's so confusing. That's why I put all that in. It's not necessarily that he was BTFO'd. It's just that he'd fallen for the kind of narrative surrounding the film. The society is geared around war. That's not true at all. If from the book at least, in the movie it might look that way because it's focused on a war. But in the book, that's not what it's about at all, and that's why I include the clip of it. Where he goes to Vancouver.
I will say, sorry, before I go on, the chat is complaining that you are clipping a little bit. Either your gain's too high or you're too close to your mic. I don't know
Okay.
which it is.
I-
But you are a little boomy in here.
I shall move. I shall move the shall move the mic away from me somewhat. Is that any better? I hope that's
A little bit
better.
better. I think it might be your gain setting.
I don't.
Gain seems a little bit high.
I don't fucking know. Like my gain.
Do you not know how to adjust the gain on your? Oh my god.
Well, the thing is, I can't see anything that would do that.
Okay, that's better. Now that you're a little bit further away, that's better. Maybe
Yeah, I'll
another
just,
inch
I'll
or
just,
so.
yeah, I'll just be further away from it. It's fine. It's easier for me.
That's a lot better, actually. Yeah.
Oh, good.
It's just-
Okay.
I can't believe you don't know what gain settings are.
Well, no, I know what a gain setting is, but I can't see one on my mic. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, PewDiePie. Yeah, he just seems to have bought the narrative surrounding the film, but because I don't think he read the book, or at least I would guess he didn't read the book. So I mean, yeah. I don't think. Well, no, sorry, I'm wrong. No, total BTFOing. PewDiePie, shut your channel down, delete your account.
He did threaten to at one point. I'm gonna get close to my mic because apparently I'm a little bit quiet.
Now you're making. You're doing the boomy thing. Jesus.
Am I? Okay.
No, it's fine. It was probably mine. I just turned it down a bit.
There we go. I shouldn't be too bad now. Is that better?
Yeah, that's good actually.
Okay, I'm just trying to address my microphone properly because I'm like across the room here as well. And but yeah, I think the thing is with PewDiePie is that there's a lot of people who talk about Starship Troopers and try and have different interpretations of it.
Yeah.
When you just have to kind of, I hate overanalyzing it. Sometimes I know you've just done that for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I
but
know.
It's one of those films that is just good fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Like it holds up as an action movie. It holds up, like it's got a
Absolutely.
good like sense of fun to it.
Yeah.
That's why it's become such a good cult movie. And there's also accidentally all these very good ideas behind it that Verhoeven mistook for fascism.
Well, that's something I wanted to. I probably should have made more clear. You know, I wasn't reviewing the film. You know, I didn't go through like the structure of the plot of the film and lay it out like a normal film review would do. I didn't. I was taking specific ideological points and philosophical points and discussing those. Because that was the point of it. You have to have some kind of familiarity with the film to be able to.
Oh, the chat's still saying to turn me up a bit. By the way, apparently I'm a little bit quiet.
Well, I didn't turn you down.
I don't know. That's what the chat's
Well,
saying.
no, I mean, I turned the headphone volume on my speakers down, but like that shouldn't affect you. But I've turned you up a bit, so can't find the gains of #boom problems. Tell me about it, right? Well, Sargon direct the sequel, Starship Boomers. They should get me to direct the sequel, though, or at least write it.
Starship Boomers, goddammit.
Do you consider yourself a Heinleinian liberal now? I think Petersonian maybe would be more. Well, I mean, it's basically the same. Like, I think Heinlein and Peterson would have agreed completely on so many points. So maybe, like, I mean, I think that personal responsibility matters. I think that is something that matters.
Oh god, people are spamming Boomer with Mike. With things now.
Get Arch on. Well, I don't know where Arch is. If he's around, he's free to come on. Obviously.
Yeah, apparently I'm like half the volume of you to the stream. So
really, fuck. Okay, hang on.
Maybe turn me up in Discord here. Just right click on me and turn my volume all the way.
No, that's fine. I think it's okay. Try now.
Is that a lot better?
Hopefully.
Okay, I'll wait for the stream to catch up.
Yeah. Let me just
Right,
message Arch and V.
I know how annoying it can be when like I'm watching a stream and the levels are all bad, so I'm trying to ameliorate that a little bit. But what do you to get not completely off topic, but do you think a lot of people will watch Starship Troopers and really see its below surface message? Do you think most people do get this from the film? Or do you think it has to be explained to most people?
I think most people just see it as an action flick. Probably. Like the average normie.
Honestly, I think like maybe the second or third time I watched the film, I started to pick up on all of this. And when a lot of people said, "Oh, it's a parody of fascism," I'm like, "Hang on a minute."
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a fascist society.
Yeah. Where is the dictator? Who's doing the ranting and raving from the podium?
Honestly, it makes the thing that makes him look the most right about wanting to do service is his fucking father, who's insufferable.
Yeah, right. You're going on holiday, young man. You're cut off. Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's this sneering fucking rich guy who's going to bribe his son with a vacation. And then when his son defies him and tries to cut him off, he's like, "You're an asshole." Fuck you, you cunt. It's like you. That's. I think that's the moment. Like you really just start to cheer for them, almost not unquestioningly, but you really get invested in them.
Yeah.
And if he wanted to make them almost like the bad guys, he's not like an unquestioning drone. It's. I don't know. I think a lot of people. I saw some stuff about Starship Troopers, but like, oh, he's still. There's this moment where he decides to commit to this fascist society. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He literally witnessed a massacre by the bugs.
Yeah, it was.
And decides to do more about it.
Yeah, I mean, his hometown is blown up. Like, what did you think about Jordan Peterson's Twitter comments about Kavanaugh ought to step down? Has he offered an explanation yet? Pews is slowly getting woker, by the way. Yeah, PewDiePie is really he is getting woke, which is great. I'm glad he's like reading interesting stuff like in this direction as well. Like just things that aren't far left nonsense.
Honestly, my thought is with PewDiePie is that I think he's always been relatively red pilled. He's just been hiding his power level.
No, because that makes him sound like he's a Nazi.
He's been dropping hints for a long time.
I don't think he's a Nazi.
I don't think he's a Nazi, but I think he's
a conservative.
I don't think he's a conservative. I just think he's a critical thinker. I don't think he's like.
Yes.
You don't even have to be a conservative at this point. I guess some people would call him a conservative. But like anyone who's like right of Mao is now a conservative, apparently, in the public discourse. I just think he's someone who is very aware of chat culture and internet culture, and is not swallowing all the bullshit.
Yeah, I think he's aware of like the edge of the internet and how it's pushing outwards. The sort of cultural blade of it. Enter the fray. The Terran Federation did absolutely nothing wrong. Man, like I said, that was my favourite bit of the whole fucking thing to make, because they didn't. The Terran Federation haven't done anything wrong. And I loved getting that Jesus guy on it. He was a really good service, by the way. I can totally recommend him. Literally within the day, it's done. So, and it cost me $5. So, definite plug for Jesus there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, his comments about Kavanaugh, I think this is the sort of the effect of being in a kind of culture, and I think that Peterson has been in this kind of culture.
It's like, are you saying that we live in a society?
Yeah, I'm unironically saying we live in a society. It's more than that. We are the society.
Bottom text.
Yeah, exactly. But it's true.
Dab.
It's true.
Dab.
Yeah, dab, yeah. But no, so the Kavanaugh step down thing, I mean, like, I can see why they would say that. I mean, I can see why he would say it. It seems that he was saying it in the spirit of conciliation. So, like, to make sure the Dems didn't just lose. But frankly, the tactics they're using ought to just lose, in my opinion. I don't agree with him on being this magnanimous with them at this point. I mean, like, I think what happened to Kavanaugh is a fucking disgraceful thing. I mean, like, you could have approached it on his merits. Like, I wouldn't have been in favour of quite an authoritarian judge from the Bush era, but you can't just say, right, our primary mode of trying to, stop our Republican opponents is going to be to call them rapists, with what are probably 36-year-old lies, given the fact that nobody could corroborate any of these stories. Like, I'm sorry, it's too fucking low in my taste. What do you think?
What I think is that it's very, very apparent that the Democrats have they've opted out of the political equivalent of the social contract, and they've made this basically a fight to the death. They've shown that they are willing to be as obstructionist as humanly possible for the sake of it, for the sake of trying to end the Trump government, and the Trump administration. And when you're dealing with people like that, when you're dealing with essentially unreasonable extremists, you don't appease them. You crush them, and that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
The Democrats will not be appeased. They will not do anything in terms of bipartisanship. If they take the House and the Senate, they will use it to be as obstructionist as they can be, even if things make sense. Even if things are in their interest, they think it's in their interest to make the government of Trump not work. So you don't play ball with them. What you do is you go hard at them. And I think that's what the Republicans start to realize now. You saw, like, they were arguing with the protesters finally. They were like, some brilliant put downs were made by some of the Republicans with those terrible protesters. Like there's that, I can't remember his name, but there's one guy who like argued with that woman and like apologized to her children because they were being used as political pawns, and she just got completely fucking owned. Like this whole affair has finally made the Republican Party grow some fucking balls and stop kowtowing.
Can we take a moment to praise Lindsey Graham?
Oh yes, he is my.
Dude, he has been on fucking fire, like an absolute beast. Everything that's coming out of his mouth, ever since Kavanaugh, right, where he's just like, this is an absolute disgrace. You are disgusting. He has held no regard for the moral standards of the left anymore, the Democrats, you know. And so he's like, when he's walking away from that screaming feminist, he's just adjusting his tie with the grid. It's like, yeah, fuck her, you know what I mean? And then,
when he tells her to move to South Carolina.
Yeah. And then the other one's like, you know, what if Kavanaugh should take a polygraph? It's like, well, why don't we just dunk him in water, see if he floats? It's like, oof, Lindsay. And then when fucking Pocahontas comes out with, oh, I'm less than 0.1% Cherokee, he literally, it was in the Hill, printed in the Hill. I saw this fucking headline, Lindsey Graham, I think I might be more Cherokee than her, I'm going to take the test. Like, fucking savage.
They should do, you know what, the entire Republican, like, House and Senate should take the fucking test and all show that they're more Native American than she is. That is the biggest backfire. Even God criticizing her. Like, I honestly think that Elizabeth Warren might have cost herself any chance at the Democratic nomination with that.
Oh God, I just love the idea that 2018 ends with Lindsey Graham basically bellowing, "I'm more Native American than you. Where's my casino?"
Oh, I love it as well that Trump made this happen. Like, have you ever been trolled so hard? Have you been trolled so hard you took a DNA test?
Fuck.
I've never been trolled that hard. That's trolled pretty fucking hard. And Trump's just there fucking laughing at me. Oh, she took the fucking DNA test. She's like 1,000th Native American, you stupid Pocahontas bitch.
Yeah, but like, it's incredible. She's like one of the whitest people who have ever lived. She's whiter than the average European.
She is. She looks like an Aryan, like some sort of example of Aryanism. She is. It's just ridiculous. And the fact that it wasn't even Native American she was tested for, because Native Americans are very wary of genetic research because they've been experimented on as a people, so they don't give DNA samples generally. It was like Peruvian. It was like the native peoples of South America she was tested against. So she's not even part Native American. She's probably part fucking Mexican, like 8
probably
generations
part Spanish.
Ago. Yeah, like her great grandmother probably had an affair with someone around a fucking taco stand. And
Jesus Christ, what's wrong with this guy? This guy running a taco stand didn't really do anything wrong.
No. I mean, as in now she's claiming to be Native American.
Yeah, I know. But the whole thing has just been a hilarious BTFOing of Elizabeth Warren.
The thing is, it was a completely avoidable
Scrump. No, we've reconnected. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what happened there. OBS just disconnected. But it's reconnected now, I hope. So, Elizabeth Warren. I think we've laughed at her enough for one day.
No, we haven't. We should just sit here and just cackle at her stupid fucking face.
What about the high cheekbones, though? Come on, the high cheekbones are proof.
Fucking.
Oh yeah, Trump called Stormy Daniels horseface.
Oh yeah, that.
Fuck me, that was funny as fuck. Watching the Young Turks coverage of that was just the most funny thing I've seen since Trump won. In fact, you know, like literally, they're just saying the president called Stormy Daniels horseface, and it's like, yo, she's a prostitute, man. What, like, I think she might actually have been a prostitute with Trump, but a porn star. Sorry, I don't mean prostitute. You know, it's like, are we talking about defending people's honor? I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a porn star, but like, you know, she's there running around screaming that he's got a tiny dick to all the world, and he's like, yeah, she's a horse face. And it's like, okay. Alright, why are we talking about this? Holy fuck.
I will say that in terms of getting stuff done, like Trump's probably the closest thing to a Starship Troopers future we currently have. Have you seen that he's threatened to call in the military and close the entire Mexican border? Because apparently Honduras and Guatemala have sent 3,000 migrants in a train towards the US.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, they've just got like. Apparently, it's politically motivated too. It was like, I think it was dreamt up by some kind of fucking community activist or something who ended up getting arrested.
It's the same sort of thing that Erdogan's doing with EU. He was threatening to send like another 1 million migrants across if the EU didn't give him something like 4 billion euros. So they gave him the money.
Trump was like, "Fucking do it! I will cut off all your aid and I will close the border."
Apparently, Trump called Warren a low IQ individual, which is hilarious.
Is he turning into JF now? I've had enough of your low IQ opinions.
Low IQ interventions. It's even worse. Thank you, Morio Kitsune. When will UKIP become the party of the Terran Federation? Good question. It's only a matter of time. You recently announced a hiatus, and this has been anything but. Will we get more of this creativity during the next hiatus? Well, this is the thing with the Starship Troopers video. This is the kind of video I'm going to start making on my main channel from now on. On this channel, I'll still.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, I'll still do they probably won't be that good in the future. I mean, that was a special case, I'm sure. But I'm going to do my best with them, obviously.
I will say that this is what you should focus on rather than whatever fucking stupid drama of the week is.
Yeah, well, I agree. But it's not just the drama of the week. I don't really actually pay that much attention to the drama. But it's the political drama of the week that I do still follow it for the fun of it, and that's why I can do the hot takes on the thinkery. But generally, getting into the nitty gritty of you end up spending ages saving hundreds of different sources and making sure everything's in date and arranged and stuff, and it's a lot of effort, and I can do better videos. I think a lot of other people are doing it.
Quick question. You've been kind of brewing this Starship Troopers video for a long time. What is another dream project you want to get off the ground?
Well, I've got a bunch of video ideas that I've started but never got around to taking the time to finish, because I started doing it thinking, this won't be too big, and then realized that the more I start going into it, the bigger and bigger it gets, and so I kind of stop it and go, right, okay, that's I'm happy with the start, I'll come back to that. And now I can actually go back and go through all these, because I've got lots of different subjects that I've got. I've got a video on Islamophobia that I've been writing for ages.
Oh, yeah.
And
I know, that's been months.
Yeah,
that was back when we used to use Skype.
Yep, exactly. That's why I was saying, man. This Week in Stupid is the thing that was taking up so much time, and it's I'm not getting anything else, any of the real meat done, because this video, man, you wouldn't believe. You would think it was Muslims demanding that had invented all of this, but it wasn't. I'll leave you to guess who it was. No, I'll do the video.
Does it come in the form of brackets?
There are going to be lots of people who will be screaming coincidence.
Well, it's merely a coincidence. So.
No, I'm obviously, and the thing is, no, because of that, I'm going to have to put into the video Jews who are against Muslims to show that not all Jews are for Muslims.
Of course they're not.
I know, but there are going to be people who are going to take away. If I don't put that in, they'll assume that what I'm saying is that this is a Jewish conspiracy to bring Muslims into the West. It's obviously it's not. But that's what people. There will be people who say that if I don't point out. Look, there are Jews on both sides of this issue, if you can believe it.
Oy vey.
Yeah. Honestly, I do really feel that a lot of political dialogue is fucking retarded these days. More
thing I will say about Starship Troopers is that I think people should have understood the tone, because it's pretty much the same tone as RoboCop in a lot of ways. That was another one of Verhoeven's movies, and that's another very good movie that kind of has a lot of satire in it, and is saying more than maybe you think it is. But it's also just standalone a very good action movie too.
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it? The fact that even if you weren't interested in the politics of it, it's just a fun movie to watch.
I just love the fact that it accidentally promotes the things he was trying to stand against.
Basically,
beautiful.
Basically, I love this. Field of Bears. Trump is so alpha that he got a refund from a prostitute. Well, where's the lie?
He didn't even have to get out of the car and beat her up GTA style.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that's how you get a refund from prostitutes. You got to kill them afterwards. That's what GTA taught me.
There's actually 5,000 migrants now, some in Mexico. So
well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Pedro and Alejandro, but you have to go back, or else your country's not getting its aid money.
Well, it's not just that. It's another. I really have been considering what do we do? I mean, it's like the reverse colonization, idea. As in we're pinching their best and brightest, and we're keeping their countries stupid and primitive. And I mean, it's hard to argue with, really, isn't it?
have you been outside a Home Depot in the US anywhere? I don't think we're taking the best and brightest.
You don't think so? Well,
I don't
I'm not specifically against the Mexican-US border, but in general, when we talk about immigration, we always say, well, we're going to get highly skilled people in Britain anyway, and it's like, I mean, we don't. We've got open borders basically. It's 250,000 people a year, but it's not 250,000 doctors and lawyers a year. But that's what everyone always says. And it's like, but isn't that like the reverse colonization? You're stealing their talent because you have
no.
more
If
money.
anything, the West is a massive engine for helping those countries because a lot of people are educated here. Like most of the people.
Well, no, I agree that it's not that we don't help them, but like you don't see immigration as being like an innovating factor there.
Well, to our country.
No, to their country.
Well,
like in India, like the NHS is staffed with loads of Indian doctors, and I'm not complaining about the doctors; they're fantastic. When gave birth, we had an Indian doctor and stuff like this. But India could probably have used that doctor, and we could probably have trained our own doctors.
I agree that we could have trained our own doctors. That's a big problem we're currently having, and that we don't have a lot of domestic training for certain professions. But no, I don't honestly. There's honestly probably quite a dearth of doctors, and there's some argument to be made that in certain parts of the world it's easier to become a doctor than it is here in the UK. That's why importing doctors is a bad idea, because we have a much higher bar to entry to become a good doctor than, say, India does. It's honestly a very complex debate in that we are importing quote-unquote skilled labor, but the bar for skilled labor in other parts of the world is lower.
That's not to say universal or anything, just before anyone freaks out.
No. Well, we have the top educational institutions in the world. That's just a fact. Like it just is. Like the West, the US, the UK, and certain parts of Western Europe are where the best universities are. It's where the best education is. Where the highest standard of education is. So, I think, I don't know. There's a lot to be said about the benefits of immigration. I think that yes, everyone who's an immigrant should contribute towards that society, and they should have a skill that's relevant, and that should be how an immigration system is weighted. But I also don't think that we're somehow leeching them off like the other countries, because so many people come to the West and then take those skills back with them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say leeching. That's not how. That's not a fair characterization. You're right. It's not like malicious.
Yeah,
but I think it's an incidental circumstance.
Someone brought up the concept of a brain drain, which does happen. But it mainly happens, I think, to Western countries, because we're the ones who do a lot of the training of these types of people, and then they end up leaving. I don't know. Not to disparage a lot of other countries, but there is definitely a lower standard of information a lower standard of education outside of the West. That's just the way it is, and especially places like China are very obsessed with trying to highlight the IQ of their populations. They don't bother to teach things like critical thinking skills, which is what you'll find a lot of Chinese graduates don't have.
So a couple of things have come up while you're making that point. Razorfist apparently was just banned off Twitter. I've just sent him a message on Skype to see. I don't know why. I should get him on. If he's around, if he wants to come on, more than welcome, obviously. And he's probably right about Fallout 76 being shit roleplay wise, but I'm still going to play it. And the Bandog says, during the video I realised that your description of fascism mirrored my understanding of socialism. Do you delineate the two in any way? Yeah, there are notable differences between fascism and socialism. Fascists consider themselves effectively successors to socialism. Mussolini thought socialism failed. International collectivization isn't possible. Socialism is effectively like economic totalitarianism, and fascism is multi-spectrum, intersectional totalitarianism. When it comes to the state, particularly, the socialists, the socialist theory is obviously wildly inconsistent with its own premises. Like, for example, you'd need a revolution to establish a dictatorship of the proletariat that would eventually, using the state, eventually create they would implement socialism to the point where the state would wither away. Obviously, the opposite happened. You just ended up with a totalitarian state that completely, an attempted totalitarian state, an authoritarian state that controlled the economic life of the nation, which wasn't and required to maintain its existence. secret police, spies, media censorship, closed borders, all these sort of things. The end of civil liberties, and centralising culture as well in many ways. And the fascists did all of this as well, but for the fascists, this was all part of the intent. For the socialists, I don't think they necessarily intended to do this, but I think it's inevitable that they will. Whereas the fascists were like, yeah, we're going to do this. So yeah, that's how I would delineate it to. And socialism's international as well. And obviously fascism is national.
Welcome, Arch, by the way. I see you lurking there.
I have been summoned.
Hello, how are you? How did you like your clips?
I haven't had time to watch it yet.
Right, okay. Well, I put your clips in, they were amazing. Thank you very much, man. They sounded great.
It was fun to do.
Thank you.
You read it better than I would have done, because I'm fucking dyslexic. But also, I couldn't understand you without your usual background music. It didn't sound right.
Sargon should have clipped it in there.
Well, I'm weird about background music. I prefer not having it for some reason.
I don't like videos where people feel like they have to put some sort of music in the back, as if you listening to somebody talk is like intrinsically just a negative thing. Because I know in EFAP with like Mahler and stuff, when we go over people's videos and critique them, a lot of the times we complain about how loud the background music is and how assertive it is and how it's really
that's obnoxious.
Thunks and
I like nice kind of background music that can fade into the background, like on like to plug my own show, like on Dumping with Scrum. We have some very gentle jazz in the background.
Yeah, like Darude Sandstorm.
Dun 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 dun. Anyway, what song is that again? Sorry.
So let me just read out a few comments. Baczynski, brain drain is a strong effect. It's a major problem from third world nations like Brazil, where our market do not value as best as first in the world. Yeah, that's the impression I'm under too.
That's the country's problem. And to be fair, Brazil's a shithole, and you should probably reconsider living in Brazil if you live in Brazil.
Yeah, but it's never going to get any better if people actually have that opinion.
Well,
yes, why do you hate brown people?
Yes.
Well, the problem isn't like the skills in Brazil. The problem is the Brazilian government.
Yeah, but if the talented and wealthy flee the country,
I'm saying the Brazilians can't run a government.
Oh Jesus Christ, that's even worse.
Yeah, the next one. Congrats to Razorfist on getting banned on Twitter. He is officially feared by snowflakes, soy boys, and libbots. Yeah, apparently he's off Twitter. I don't know. Too early. It's breaking news. Breaking drama. But yeah, sorry, I don't have any further information. Most immigrants here in California have their work visas expire once they change their mind to stay. There isn't always easy access to past citizenship. That's probably true. I don't know about that, I'm afraid.
I think the solution to the whole brain drain problem is to just like re-establish colonialism, and we can just administer them better again.
Yeah,
it's fine.
There are multiple Australian unis on that list. Yeah.
The Anglo, I kind of caught the Anglosphere in there.
Yeah, I figured you did. Yeah.
Even though dingoes don't count. So.
Yeah.
That's what I used to call my geometry class.
What?
Dad jokes.
Oh boy. Not even the boomer chuckled at it.
Sorry. During the video, oh no, I read that one. Sorry. I like how Heinlein emphasizes that the veterans were the ones that built the Federation. Vets understand the separation of military rigidity and individual freedom. Excellent video, Sargon. Yeah, I can believe it, man. I mean, I grew up on military camps, and squaddies would go out and get pissed as fuck, when they were off duty, and I imagine that's something they valued, that kind of freedom.
Well, it's kind of a British tradition as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I imagine a lot of militaries would be the same, even like in our world, where someone who's spent a lot of time in the military would appreciate some maybe more libertarian sentiments.
Yeah. Sargon, I'm slowing down my political vids. Also, Sargon, did someone say retarded NPCs? Well, no, this was the projects. This kind of project's what I'm going to work on from here on out. I tell you what, the next one's... I'm not sure which one to do next, but I've got an idea, and it's going to be interesting because I don't think anyone will see it coming. So, and I'm going to like roundhouse kick everyone, and like from their expectations. No one's going to expect what I'm going to do.
So are you going to become like a Fortnite YouTuber then?
Oh yeah, man.
That would surprise me.
I don't even know what that is.
Tell me, Sagan, where do you drop from the battle bus?
Yeah. You always thank the bus driver, right?
I am afraid this means nothing to me. I've never played or paid any attention to Fortnite.
Yeah, Sagan's less battle bus, more bank bus. But...
I know what that is.
What, Bank Bros? What?
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Oh, fucking busted! Look at that.
Every man.
You put the bus in busted.
Rags, what is with the dad
we
jokes?
all know of that genre. I mean,
What?
he's less battle bus, more bank van. Hey, you lost? You need a ride? Sorry.
Yeah, Brzezinski thinks it's the governments and the market itself. The global market will pay you 10 times, and you'll live far better quality of life in places like the Britain or the USA, not the bang bus.
It's the boomer bus.
So, someone in the chat is pressing 1 for D&D. Yeah, I know, man. I had an interview with a guy who worked for Kathy Newman for a number of years on Wednesday. So I had to go and do that. That's another thing I'm still doing. But the so
what you're saying is that you have an interview coming?
but yeah, it's interesting because like what's really interesting is just hearing about the people from the people who actually know them, you know, because suddenly you get a much different dimension on the people that you think you're familiar with from the media, because you know the people who have worked with them for a number of years can tell you about their actual personality and like how they operate, and it gives you a new perspective on what can be done.
So, Stargun, have you been watching Goblin Slayer?
No, but I've seen a lot of media about it. What's the deal?
It's just a mildly edgy anime that everyone's freaking out about because it's
Why?
current year.
It's Doom, but anime.
Yeah,
Right.
it's basically
Even
an anime
the
about.
edgiest anime this year. Not fucking even.
No, not even. It's not like there's like Berserk fans there, like, oh, you sweet summer child.
So yeah, but what's the problem with it?
There was a rape scene apparently, and people are getting triggered by it.
I'm just glad rapes don't happen in real life, or else people would find out and get really triggered.
That's illegal, Rags. They made it illegal, therefore it doesn't happen.
That's true. That was a wise move, I think.
I just always, every time someone says that about like banning things, I always post that Club Penguin meme. It's like, hello, 911? What, you're being murdered? They can't do that. That's illegal.
But it's strange though, talking about the Goblin Slayer thing, because I've seen at least 2 different accounts on Twitter that are. I think Tim Pool said it well when he said the SJWs are crypto racists, because they were like low key implying that the goblins were racial minorities, you know, and that's how they were being portrayed as, and they were drawing that connection in their own heads.
Yeah, it's like people who retroactively get mad about the Ferengi being like analogs for Jews, which is probably true, but I don't know. They just really like gold pressed platinum. The thing is, there's all kinds of projection on that though. Like, there's lots of people who talk about tabletop games and about how people like being racist against orcs, and that orcs represent like marginalized people. It's like, no, you're saying that these people are bestial, aren't you?
Yeah,
Fucking
I tell you what,
racist.
the Lord of the Rings memes can be really fucking funny though.
They're a bit boomerish though.
Well, that shit was written in like the 30s or something.
Well, no, the memes themselves, some of them are quite spicy. Come on. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an old meme, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's something contemporary edgelord style meme, but some of them, if you just... I mean, the thing is, you've got to... I think one of the things that a lot of people on the internet forget is that you've got to imagine yourself as a normie, and someone has put out a Lord of the Rings meme in the frame of Islamic immigration, you know, which is what the spicier ones are. And that is really fucking offensive. Like, that you could probably get in trouble for some kind of hate crime, frankly.
I'm surprised I haven't already, but
Honestly, me too.
I've made a few spicy Islamic memes.
Yeah.
That may or may not involve goats.
I mean, that literally actually violates the definition of Islamophobia that the Met use. So I think they could, if they wanted to, if they felt so inclined, arrest you over a Lord of the Rings orc meme. I'm not joking. Which is the scary part.
fucking Islamic meme ball. Oh dear.
Just cut your daughter's clit off and save yourself the trouble.
No, it's circumcision. I can't stand like euphemisms like that. It's I guess we get into cultural relativism now, but I can't stand the bug apologists who are like, oh, you know, the bugs were just defending themselves,
Well,
man.
let me read you a comment that I've just found about that, actually. So Billy Nunes says, I think there's something you missed that you should consider. The inciting event that started the war was an asteroid that was supposedly launched by the bugs. Earlier in the movie, they specifically showed that the Earth has an asteroid defense system, which implies the asteroid was left to pass by and strike the Earth. No, that's from the year earlier. The propaganda and the footage is for the live footage that is following is part of the propaganda is from the year earlier. The defense system exists because of the meteor attacks, I would suggest. Although we're not told that categorically.
Actually, we are.
Are we?
Yeah, I remember in the movie there's a cut after the asteroid hits where they specifically mention "never again."
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. So yeah, literally the humans did absolutely nothing wrong.
It's weird how like Verhoeven seems to be propagandizing against the interests of the people in his own film who appear to be in the right.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's
kind of weird.
It's really slippery, isn't it?
It is slippery, and it's kind of the tone of the film kind of tries to make you think that in certain ways. If you're told to look at it in that direction, you feel like, oh, you know, the bugs are the good guys. It's like there is literally no way you can look at that film objectively and come off thinking that the bugs are in any way the good guys.
Yeah. Someone's like, do Warhammer 40k universe next? I would have to do the Federation, the Imperium, Jesus. But honestly, with Archer's channel in existence, I don't see the point.
The Emperor did nothing wrong.
The
Basically.
Emperor did nothing wrong.
By definition, anything he does is not wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the Youth and Fro dilemma, but in 40k.
Whatever
Is it
happened to
right-
your
is it
like
right because the Emperor does it, or
Didn't you used to have like the ancient recreations channel or something?
Recitations. Yeah. Well, I've still got it. It's just that I don't have time to.
It's kind of an ancient recreation.
Haha. But yeah, no, I just don't have time to update it. I've just been really busy.
Oh, fair enough. Well, at least it could end up being a backup shitposting channel at some point, because I'm pretty sure, like the new Mimia did, I'm pretty sure that your shitposting channel is going to go down at some point.
Man, I'm still working on getting that back. I really want that back.
Well, yeah, like you know, I think there's still some cyberpunk videos that were lost because of that. So.
Yeah, there were loads of shitposts that were lost because of that. Thanks, Destiny.
Press F in the chat for our dead.
Yeah, it was a great channel.
I cry every time.
Yeah, unironically, I'm still not over it. Why did Saga and V break up? Oh, I didn't even realize. V didn't even tell me.
Yeah, did you leave it like a Dear John letter?
No, you didn't. Oh, V, don't please. I can change.
Saga, and I wrote you.
But you never wrote me back. It's gonna be like Stan.
Oh, honestly, right. So, do you remember Dean Esme?
Yes.
Yes.
He is like, I don't even know what I've done wrong to the guy. Like, I'm really not sure what I've done to the guy that's really pissed him off. But he's like, or whenever I see him from time, you know, every now and again, popping up in comment sections of videos, basically, you know, just spouting about me, and I'm like, man, I'm sorry for whatever I've done, dude. You know, like, I genuinely, I don't need to be holding a grudge for years.
You're an atheist, and that's enough.
Well, I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it's just because I'm an atheist.
I seriously think if you're an atheist, that's enough reason for him to hate your guts and be a nasty piece of shit to you.
Tell Arch he's convinced me to start reading Horus Heresy. Hope it's not garbage. I love the video. Thank you, man. Is Horus Heresy garbage, Arch? I've actually never read any of the 40k novels.
Horus Heresy is very good overall.
Mm-hmm.
Just anything with the Dark Angels in it is going to be, well, Dark Angels. They're just cursed. Give up on them.
I like the Dark Angels look, though.
Well, yeah, the Nazis were snazzy dressers too.
But the Nazis were great dressers. Hermann Bosch.
I mean, you can't argue with designs by Hugo Boss.
Well, apparently not. But I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I was gonna make a joke, but I guess someone could have just taken that out of context, and that's the fucking world I live in
Here,
these days.
Discord me the joke, and I'll say it on your channel.
Don't worry.
I know what you're about to say there. You were about to say, I'm just saying that Hitler did nothing wrong. But...
No, I wasn't going to say that, actually. I wasn't going to say that. But it would have been something funny that people would have clipped out and gone, well, he means this. Look what he's just said. Oh, for fuck's sake.
I love, like, the big brain meme that starts, like, Hitler did nothing wrong. And then the second was, like, Hitler did... The only thing Hitler did wrong was killing himself. And the third one is, like, Hitler was the worst thing that ever happened to fascism because it discredited their ideas for the rest of the generations.
Well, that's true. That's actually true, yeah.
So Hitler ruined fascism like the Nazis ruined eugenics?
Nah, to be fair, fascism's always going to ruin itself. It's the same as socialism. These things always spiral out of control because they're not built on firm foundations.
How you can say that when you know very well that socialism has never really been tried.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Always becomes something terrible. And then it's not socialism by definition because we have defined socialism as peace and light and love.
But
they've made it never truly been tried. It keeps getting sabotaged by other nations.
That's essentially the fascist argument, yeah. Arch, when you find the heart of Ira in the Pathfinder Kingmaker game, ask Nucker about all the things that hid in it. Mostly take the first letter of the first 6 words in the quote.
I am never going to remember that all the way up until actually finding that item.
Okay.
So very subtle.
I felt really proud of myself for solving the first puzzle in that game where you had to figure out the statues and that there were 2 secret rooms. I was so proud of myself. That's about as complex a puzzle as I can do.
Can you do the politics of Gundam at some point? I assume that's some Japanese giant robot thing.
Oh my god.
The politics of Gundam.
No, Gundam, actually a lot of the series have a lot of extremely dense politics in them.
Oh, it's like Ghost in the Shell. There's a lot of political stuff in it.
It does, but the problem is you could do a series, sure, but the timeline is so fucking skippy that to do an overall politics would be virtually impossible.
Maybe just do like a pick and choose and kind of give you like a good flavor of what the politics of Gundam are, because it is kind of like colonialism and separatism and like, the Earth versus the colonies and all that kind of stuff. There's some interesting stuff there. Apart from, the more interesting stuff in Gundam is stuff like G Gundam with like Space Mexico and the Gundam
Space
with the sombrero.
Oh god, G Gundam. Don't even remind me that thing exists.
The Dutch Gundam was literally a windmill. G Gundam.
But you could. I mean, you could take Seed and look at the incredible amounts of racism and fear of the unknown, etc. Definitely.
I mean, I can't say I've ever watched it, so I can give you an opinion.
It's very Japanese, but it has its charm.
Just give you an idea, so I can look in the symposium.
Hang on a second. Is this going to be it? What?
The reason it's so good is because it's so subtle.
Yeah. Okay, hang on a second. I'm gonna share screens. I'm gonna split.
Just put that on screen. That deserves to be on screen. I'm here, fucking sharing G Gundam memes. We are so far away. We are so far away from Starship Troopers right now.
Space Colony Neo Mexico. It's a fucking sombrero.
Welcome to G Gundam.
And the bad guys are massive robot Nazis with STG-44s.
Yep, they are.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's too much underlying subtext.
Okay, let me just one more. Okay,
go on.
Here is the Nether Gundam. You'll have to click on the page, but.
What is wrong with Japan? Okay, just
what? Oh,
what is this?
That is the Dutch Gundam. It's a windmill.
Because of course it is.
Why? Why?
Listen, space wind power is an untapped.
This is true. It is entirely untapped. Nobody's ever even tried before.
This is what happens when you get me and Rags in a Sargon stream. Talking about G Gundam.
What is this nonsense?
G Gundam.
Just think, you could spin the wheel once in its space, so it'll just go forever.
No, that's not to say there's no friction. There's friction on the...
Don't think too much about
Sorry.
axles and shit.
Are we really gonna have a serious
or
discussion
Gundam.
about the? Are we gonna have a serious discussion about the physics of windmills in space?
No, it's this
Let
is
me
Gundam
tell
on-
you.
Gundam
No, I
on
don't know
this.
shit.
We're not even tilting at windmills right now. We're like autistically screeching at them.
Jesus.
Let's get back on track. I've derailed this
Screeches
stream
and
far
Dutch.
too much.
Space
Right, okay.
Dutch.
Space Dutch. That sounds like a really dirty sex move.
Space Dutch.
The bad guys in Gundam are a race of space bricks that collectivize into quantum walls. So,
That's an accurate description, yes.
I see no problem.
and
works.
they're keeping the Mexicans out, right? Do the politics of a sister's all you need? I've never heard of that, I'm afraid. Raw violence, hunger, and a general lack of basic living supplies is the true socialist way. Well, it's certainly the one we see the most often. Will I ever do another All Cultures Are Beautiful video? Yes, I have quite a spicy one in the bag for where I want to piss a lot of people off. 40k is fascist, yes, absolutely. Although the interesting thing with the Imperium in 40k is it's not that it's not fascist. It's that the actual direct input and influence of the Imperium is limited for just physical reasons, not because they don't want it. Is that correct, Arch?
Yeah, like if you want to be entirely correct, the Imperium is practically every single form of government underneath the fucking sun and a couple more, since many planets have limited self-rule because, well, Imperial bureaucracy can't actually govern every single fucking planet, even if they might want to.
But they would certainly give themselves the mandate if it was possible.
Oh yeah, they reserve the right to require as much in the way of taxes and manpower as they fucking want from these planets.
It's like the Foundation trilogy. Eventually, the sheer scale and size of something just gets to a point where, oof.
Yeah.
Just fuck it. Just don't bother with it.
Fuck it. What are you gonna do?
Oh no! I knew the conspiracy theories had come out. Judy Hopps. The odds of the bugs firing a meteorite at the Earth were trillions to one. It was an inside job to provoke the proletariat into blindly invading Klendathu.
I like how in this universe, that's probably being pushed by a version of like Space Alex Jones.
Yeah, exactly right. You would think they would have that on one of the broadcasts or debates or something. But
They did, didn't they?
planets.
They had the guy who was arguing against the space bugs, who was like, bugs who think are ridiculous.
yeah, he
mean,
didn't
that's
have the
kind of
conspiracy theory though. That's a shame.
Yeah, but that's kind of a suggestion that he goes like, well, possibly did the bugs launch a meteor?
Well,
God
true.
only knows how many trillions of fucking miles against space without thinking.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean,
The bugs are also an interplanetary civilization
yep.
that genuinely requires intelligence. So.
Dumb races don't build starships.
That's
Exactly.
exactly it. But yeah, I love. But the thing is, this is like it's hinted at all throughout the film and throughout the sort of like lore surrounding Starship Troopers that this could be the case. But there's no evidence for it. All the evidence, and it's not just like the propaganda reels either. Like when Johnny's on the phone to his parents, that's just the film, the third eye of the film. The audience's eye that's seeing all this, and we see it all happen. So there's no reason to think it didn't happen.
So, what do you think about the fact that Walmart has come out in favor of the furries?
What?
Have you not seen this yet?
No, I've been editing a video that for days.
Apparently, Walmart is pro furry now.
Well, that's inclusive.
Yeah, let me.
It might finally bring down the cost of fursuits.
Well, apparently they're selling like cheap fursuit parts now. I'm not even kidding.
Just in time for Halloween. Just gonna sneak that under everybody's noses. It's for Halloween, guys. It's just a costume.
No. Walmart literally put out a tweet that said, "Mentoring fursuiters for the next generation. Nicely done, Lucky."
Well, I mean, okay. Let's see.
This is the world we live in now.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't have a moral problem with it.
You don't have a moral problem with
any more than I have a moral problem with anyone being a furry. But you know, it's like, okay, well, this is a crazy timeline, and we still aren't at the end of it yet. So, who fucking
I like
knows
how you're
what's
just
next?
taking it in stride. Like, yeah, Walmart's back.
Well, you know, that's just the way the world's going.
Yeah,
Fursuits at Walmart.
You would say that, Rags.
yeah.
Oh,
you
I'm
would say
not.
that.
You wouldn't catch me fucking dead in a fursuit, or fucking alive in a fursuit. I guess. You know.
Probably, yeah, probably
Next
better.
week's headline: Rags found dead in first.
Look, listen. Here's how it works. If I want to fuck, I don't want to put. I don't need a uniform for that.
Jesus,
You're gonna get yiffed to death, my boy.
the whole thing is disgraceful. You
There
should
are
have been
worse
embarrassed.
ways to go.
Yiffing degenerates.
So, I mean, if you like libertarianism in fiction and tired of SJW remakes, you should read the book I gave you, Thelma Mystic Will. I certainly will. I'm sure at some point it'll just be on my list. I've got a huge list. I put a big reading list on the sources of the video as well, just in case people want to follow up anything that they thought was interesting.
Since Razor Fist got banned, I want to give a shout out to his video he did on Steve Ditko, who's someone who actually flew in the face of a lot of identity politics and I guess leftist politics and comics at the time, and created a was it the Question, who was someone who was like a moral absolutist. Steve Ditko's a very interesting guy, and I'd recommend watching Razor Fist's video on him because it's kind of interesting how a lot of the guys, especially when they were trying to make a documentary about him, basically tried to shit on his politics, and it's really a bit cringy because it feels a bit disrespectful. But yeah, if you want to see someone who goes against the grain ideologically, look at Steve Ditko.
Okay. Did you see Gary Edwards' amusing essay on a dialogue with an anti-fascist he had in the comments of an SJW fascist paranoia video? No, but I will check that out after the stream because I do like Gary Edwards' work. Warhammer is not fascist, it's a free market theocracy. Well, I think we covered that with it's practically everything, to be fair, because of the size of it. The liberal mind virus must not be allowed to leave the earth. Progressive mind virus, god damn it. When I was in the army, Starship Troopers was our company movie. You fascists! Watching it on VHS with 100 other soldiers really makes you want to kill some bugs. Yeah, I fucking bet it did. Analyse the first 6 Dune novels. Really, Silent Crabs. How much...
I suggest starting with the first one.
Yeah, I was going to say,
How much time do you have?
Yeah, I have read the first Dune. It is a fucking doorstop. I didn't go through any of the other Dune novels because they were all massive.
It was good though.
Oh yeah, I bet it's a really great series. I only read the first one.
Like, you read the first one and you think like, wow, okay, that was a big book, and then you discover that wasn't actually the end.
When the SJWs come for the Warhammer 40,000 community in force, what should our Twitter handle, he means hashtag, be? I'm currently torn between hashtag Wargate or hashtag Hammergate. Well, this is your purview, Arch. I mean, I would say they're already at your door, but...
Well, I would say Wargate because, well, they might, well,
You should just do hashtag the Emperor did nothing wrong.
What do you reckon, Arch?
Well, like you said, they're already trying. I mean, our big problem is a lot of the authors that write for Black Library and stuff are far to the left, and getting further to the left every single day. So probably it'll be something like Library Gate or Black Gate, because it'll start in Black Library.
Well, there we go, Eyes of the Wolf. Holy Hell Space Mexico, thank you bigly for the truth vid. Tea Earl Grey hot. Yeah, you're welcome. There is always a margin of error with atom bombs. Come on now, maybe we're a little off with Japan. Well, yes.
I think we improved their civilization.
Have you?
Yeah, but then we got manga and anime, so.
You should. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear your take on maybe the utopianism and the hopeless utopianism in Star Trek, because that's kind of an interesting subject.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, Star Trek. Maybe I'll do like a proper thing on it at some point. Although I've got to say, right, I actually quite enjoy Steve Shives' videos about Star Trek, which is really fucking bizarre.
What?
Steve Shives makes videos about Star Trek. They're quite good.
Well,
Oh. A man has to have some talent for something.
Yeah, I mean, he could be
Right.
literally wrong with everything.
Unfortunately, no one can watch them because everyone's blocked.
Seriously, they're on his YouTube channel and they're genuinely not bad. And I was just like, wow, good job, Steve. You know, I enjoyed that
Shame you're a
video.
cunt.
Yeah, that was exactly it. Shame you were like a complete prick, but that was a great video. Read Court of the Air. It's an anti-communist steampunk book whose Karl Marx is named Benjamin Karl. Made me laugh. I will put that into Google, so hopefully I'll remember that.
Benjamin Karl is you
Yeah.
from the Mirror Universe.
Yeah,
He's got,
exactly.
like a mustache.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's about it. But yeah, so I'm gonna end the stream because it's getting late and I'm getting tired. Also, I want to go play some video games. I've been working fucking hard and I haven't played any video games for ages. I'm gonna play some. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. And chaps, thanks for coming on the stream. Send me your channel addresses and I will put them in the chat, in the comment section after the stream, so people can find your channels. Because I'm always terrible about doing that, and I want to start being more disciplined. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and thank you everyone for watching. And I'm glad you enjoyed the video. I'll speak to you all later.
Bye.